Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us this Christmas Eve. I'm Jennifer Lindgren. The Christmas House in Elmira is celebrating its final Christmas as a part of the community. The owners are closing the doors after nearly 40 years in operation, but there is still time to shop. Big Fox's Matt Kleindens spoke with the owners and joins us from Elmira.
Good evening, Jennifer. People from across the region have been gathering at the Christmas House in Elmira for its final holiday season. After 39 years of being a community staple, the closing is a bittersweet moment for the owners.
It's very hard to say goodbye to these people.
After 39 years, the Christmas House in Elmira will be closing its doors. The store has acted as a community staple for hundreds of residents throughout the city.
Some people that come in are third and fourth generation, and they're like part of the family. So it's very bittersweet.
Mark Del Grosso and his wife Julie are proud of the great run the store has had over the decades. Mark says the Christmas House has become a special place for so many people.
This is a fun place. People come in, they find what they want, they leave smiling. You know, it's just a happy place to be.
And on this Christmas Eve, dozens of residents gathered to complete their last-minute shopping list. Del Grosso says shoppers will still be able to shop and say goodbye at least until the new year.
Depending on how things go, what's left, we may stay open. In fact, the way my wife's talking, we will probably stay open until January 8th.
Mark is thankful for all the support from local residents who helped turn the Christmas House into a community staple.
We've been struck with tornadoes. We've had street closings. There have been years that have been very trying for us, and they've always stuck by us. Without them, we would have been gone long ago.
Matt Kleindens, Big Fox, WYDC in Elmira.
The revival of First Arena is set to begin this winter. For the past month, Mammoth Sports and Entertainment have been cleaning up the building and making technical repairs. A new ice surface has already been installed in the main arena. The new tenants say they will invest $500,000 over the next 5 years for the arena's renovation. First Arena will host its first open skate on Sunday at 1 p.m. A Long Island prosecutor says Andrew Cuomo will not be charged for a groping incident involving a state trooper. The former governor is accused of inappropriately touching a female officer at the Belmont Park racetrack back in 2019. Nassau County DA Joyce Smith stated that the allegations were credible and troubling, but not criminal under New York law. Authorities in other parts of the state are investigating claims laid out in the Attorney General's report on Andrew Cuomo. The report detailed 11 accusations of sexual misconduct by the former governor. Revelers ringing in the new year at Times Square will now need to mask up. Thursday, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced plans for a scaled-back New Year's Eve celebration. This comes as the Omicron variant of COVID-19 spreads at a rapid pace nationwide. 58,000 people usually attend the ball drop and celebration in Times Square. This year, it will be limited to 15,000. Visitors can't get in until 3 p.m. and, as announced before, everyone over 5 must be fully vaccinated. U.S. Airlines have canceled more than 400 Christmas Eve flights. Major carriers say they have staffing shortages because of the coronavirus Omicron variant. According to the flight tracking site FlightAware, both United and Delta had canceled more than 100 flights each as of this morning. United has apologized for the cancellations and says it was working to rebook customers before they get to the airport. These operational snags come as airlines see an uptick in passengers. The Transportation Security Administration screened more than 2 million people on Thursday, the highest figure since holiday travel started a week ago. The White House says President Biden is expected to lift travel restrictions from African countries at the end of the month. Last month, the president enforced the ban on 8 southern African countries to try and prevent the spread of the Omicron variant. That variant has now been reported in all 50 states, and it is now the dominant strain, accounting for more than 73% of new cases. The travel change will happen on New Year's Eve. Famed American essayist and novelist Joan Didion has died. Her publisher said she died Thursday morning at her home in New York due to complications from Parkinson's disease. Didion was a leading figure of the new journalism movement in the 1960s and 70s. She began her career with articles in Life magazine and other publications, capturing the unrest of American life during the post-war era. During Didion's prolific career, she published multiple volumes of essays, nonfiction books, memoirs, novels, and screenplays. She moved back and forth between California and New York, and both states served as inspiration for her writings. Didion's husband died from a heart attack in 2003. Their daughter died at age 39 after years of illnesses and injuries. Didion was 87 years old. Nearly 40,000 bunk beds have been recalled due to potential entrapment and strangulation hazards. Angel line beds with angled ladders have a safety issue that can create a gap between the ladder step and the frame. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission issued the recall after a 2-year-old in Ohio got caught in a gap in the bunk bed ladder and died from strangulation. 3 models are included in the recall and were sold by Amazon, Walmart, OJ Commerce, and Wayfair. Customers should stop using the beds immediately and contact Angel Line for a free repair kit. Still ahead, meteorologist Monica McNeil has your Big Fox forecast for Christmas Eve.
Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Welcome back, everyone. This weather forecast is being brought to you by William Mattar. I'm meteorologist Monica McNeil in for Kim Walker. Merry Christmas to you. It's going to be a wet one. As we start out looking at future radar, starting to pick up some rain showers. A storm system is moving through and it's producing widespread showers for us as we move through Friday night going into Saturday. We'll get a break right around 5 a.m., but more widespread rain, and there are periods of moderate to even heavier rainfall within this system. So your forecast for tonight, rain showers will begin to develop and linger right on through the first part of your morning. Accumulations, we could see about 1/10 of an inch, maybe even up to 1/4 of an inch. Your surface map for Saturday definitely includes this area of low pressure tracking toward the northeast, enhancing all of these widespread showers across our area. Even further to the north, a wintry mix of precipitation. I think at this point, we're not going to concern ourselves so much with a wintry mix. Our temperatures are going to be running really warm. So our weather headline shapes up like this. Christmas Eve night, we'll see the next storm moving through. Rain likely for your day on Christmas, and then rain and snow for Sunday as well. A continuation of future radar taking us right on through Saturday morning and into Saturday afternoon. You can see at 7 a.m. the rain is still there. We move through the day. We'll finally get a break right around noon, okay? Still showers all around us, more spotty in nature. So they'll finally dwindle down and come to an end like after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. For tonight, normal low temperatures should be right around 25. We're running warm. Told you we've got that warm front moving through and that approaching system. So look at our temperature, 39, whereas we would normally be at about 25. Very warm day on tap tomorrow. High normally 40 degrees. We're sitting at 51. So that's why we're not so concerned with seeing any freezing precipitation. We're more so looking at seeing rain. Here's a look at your extended forecast for Christmas Day, right around 49 degrees with plenty of rain likely for the day. Overnight temperatures in the mid-30s. We'll see some snow showers possibility for Saturday morning as that temperature flirts just right around that freezing line, getting that temperature down low enough to produce that snow with the snow rain mix for Sunday.
2021 was the second year in a row bookended by pandemic and political instability. But before we look ahead to the new year, Bill Hemmer takes a look back at the top news stories of the past 12 months.
2021 was another turbulent year marked by civil unrest, economic uncertainty, and a pandemic that just won't go away. Those stories and more dominating the headlines this past year.
The year kicking off with one of the worst breaches of security in American history. After a rally featuring a fiery speech from President Trump, his supporters attacked the Capitol on January 6th, demanding his loss in the 2020 election be overturned. Members of Congress there to certify the vote went into hiding as thousands stormed the building, making it as far as the House and Senate floor and the Speaker's office. The incident resulted in at least 5 deaths.
On the table.
Those events eventually prompting the House to impeach President Trump just a week later, making him the only American president to face 2 impeachment trials. But much like his first, the former president was eventually acquitted by the Senate. Just a week later.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Joe Biden becomes the 46th president of the United States. The socially distanced inauguration taking place under a cloud of uncertainty, with former President Trump refusing to concede the election. Also in January, the COVID death toll passes 2 million around the world. It would grow to more than 5 million by the end of the year as the pandemic grinds on. The containment effort largely focused on the Delta variant, a new strain more contagious and deadly than the original. Health officials making a big push for vaccinations and boosters as the best way to stop the spread. Shots from Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson all getting the green light from the FDA. Millions signed up immediately, but demand soon tapered off as vaccine hesitancy set in. The Biden administration responding with a series of mandates, including a requirement for federal workers and contractors to roll up their sleeves or lose their jobs, and a nationwide vaccine mandate for all private businesses with more than 100 employees. Another big focus for the White House, major supply chain issues causing shortages of basic goods throughout the country and around the world as the pandemic grinds on. Those shortages leading to massive inflation, with the price of consumer goods up more than 6%, the biggest jump in almost 40 years. 2021 also seeing its share of racially charged murder trials, starting with Derek Chauvin, the former police officer who was seen in a video kneeling on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes. Chauvin was convicted and sentenced to more than 22 years behind bars. A major scientific breakthrough in 21. NASA's Ingenuity helicopter taking in the sights during a 39-second flight on Mars, marking the first controlled extraterrestrial flight by an aircraft in human history. Another major conflict between Israel and Hamas, threatening to destabilize the Mideast once again. It started in May when simmering tensions boiled over into violence, Hamas firing rockets at civilian targets, prompting massive airstrikes from Israel that destroyed much of the Gaza Strip. In Surfside, Florida, a 12-story apartment building collapses in the middle of the night with no warning, leaving at least 98 residents dead. Investigators are still looking into the cause, finding big structural flaws in the building going back at least 3 years. The 2020 Summer Games finally kicking off in July of 2021. Masking, social distancing, and COVID tests were all required of athletes and coaches, who mostly competed in empty stadiums. Also overseas, Afghanistan was changing rapidly. President Biden sticks to an August 31st deadline to withdraw U.S. troops, but the Taliban were on the march. They made a lightning blitz across the country, eventually taking the capital city of Kabul on August 15th, which effectively brings an end to the longest war in American history. But this image of an American C-17 with young men chasing after it is perhaps one of the images of the year. The Pentagon forced to deploy about 7,000 troops to secure the airport in the final days of the evacuation. But just 4 days before that deadline, an ISIS bomber hitting one of the main airport gates, killing 13 American service members and dozens of Afghan civilians. Back in the U.S., Hurricane Ida slamming into Louisiana as a Category 4 storm. It was the second most damaging hurricane in the state's history, behind only Katrina in 2005. Ida's remnants also caused massive destruction throughout the Northeast, at least 115 dead and more than $65 billion worth of damage. Two more high-profile murder cases in the fall. In Wisconsin, Kyle Rittenhouse is charged with first-degree intentional homicide after shooting 3 people during the civil unrest in Kenosha last year.
Not guilty.
Rittenhouse, claiming self-defense, is eventually acquitted on all charges. And in Georgia, 3 defendants go on trial in the death of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man confronted while running in a suburban area. The men say they were forced to shoot and kill Arbery after he grabbed their weapon, but the jury wasn't buying it, and all 3 were convicted on multiple charges. Tragedy strikes a music festival in Houston. 10 people killed and hundreds wounded during a crowd crush at the Astroworld Festival, headlined by the rapper Travis Scott. And just 2 weeks before Christmas, a series of tornadoes devastating parts of the Midwest, causing dozens of deaths and billions of dollars in damage. The hardest hit state, Kentucky, where the sheer level of destruction was nearly unprecedented. Officials predicting a long recovery effort that could take years.
And looking forward in 2022, COVID may dominate the headlines again, depending on new strains like Omicron. We're also keeping a close eye on those supply chain issues and inflation and the midterm elections where Republicans hope to take back Congress.
A TSA agent at Newark Airport in New Jersey jumps into action to save a baby who wasn't breathing. The TSA released video of that incident. Cecilia Morales heard the mother shout for help. Morales shouted instructions but says the mother was just too nervous. Morales then jumped over the conveyor belt and performed the infant Heimlich maneuver on the little baby, who was just 2 months old. The baby started breathing again, and mother and son are doing just fine. Morales has been on the job only 2 months, but has 10 years of experience as an EMT. A woman who was forced to give up her dog gets the pup back. The reunion happened Wednesday in Arizona, and as Stephanie Bennett reports, it was a long journey for both the owner and her pet.
Oh my God, Freda! Hi, baby!
It was a reunion like no other.
Your Christmas miracle.
After more than 2 years of being apart, Simone Brown finally got to hug her 6-year-old Yorkie again.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. You are like my Santa.
Brown tells us she got Prada Chanel when the dog was just 5 weeks old. But after moving from New York to California to live with family, she was forced to give her up.
A guy, a truck driver with kids, was like, he would take her and he would take care of her, and he promised me.
The details are still a mystery. Did the dog escape, or was she left in the desert? And how long was she there? Luckily, a local dog rescue group found her.
I seen 2 little tiny dogs out there digging in some trash, and yeah, she was a mess, matted, really long nails. Scanned her for a chip, and she had a chip, and it was chipped in New York to the lady, Simone.
Now, because the dog's new owners did not re-register her microchip, the rescue went directly to Brown, and soon they figured out a way to bring her home. One of the volunteers' boyfriends drove Prada Chanel to Scottsdale, where Brown now lives.
Always chip your dogs, be sure and register them and keep the phone numbers current, because that allows reunions like this to happen.
I love her so much. I would not let her go anywhere else, and I promise that. Never again, baby. We'll do it together.
Highly fit women and men are more likely to consume alcohol than relatively unfit individuals. That's according to researchers at the Cooper Clinic in Dallas. The study looked at data from 38,000 patients ages 22 to 86. Fit women were 1.5 to twice as much more likely to consume more alcohol, and fit men about 1.5 times to do so. The study was published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. Ben & Jerry's is giving everyone the scoop on what their most popular flavors are for 2021. The iconic ice cream company has a flavor for everyone, but some ranked higher than others. According to Ben & Jerry's, their bestseller is Half Baked, followed by another classic in the second slot, Cherry Garcia. Third and fourth place belongs to chocolate chip cookie dough, followed by chocolate fudge brownie. Getting hungry already. With the Tonight Show-inspired Tonight Show dough rounding out the fifth spot. Other top 10 flavors are Fish Food, Americone Dream, and Chunky Monkey. Well, we want to leave you with a smile tonight, as always. Here's the question. What movies are you watching this Christmas? TopAgency.com's Data Trends has a map showing what states and regions show the most interest. Home Alone has captured the Midwest and Upper Midwest searches, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas is favored in the South. Polar Express skips through states in the South, Midwest, and Southwest. Other popular titles include Holiday Rush and The Nightmare Before Christmas, along with Die Hard. And with that, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Happy holidays, everybody. Have a great night.